What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into the August episode of the Sharps Report. I'm your host, Matt Perrault. You guys normally see me on the Daily Juice podcast, but we are going to give you an NFL football preview. Raheem Palmer does a ton of work for The Ringer, and he's been kind enough to help us break down the upcoming NFL football season. Raheem, how are you? Great to see you. Thank you for the time today. Another football year about to start.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I mean, everything's great. I just did some F45 training, so I'm trying to get in shape mentally, physically, and spiritually for the football season. So I'm excited.
All right, so we are taping this, unfortunately, on the same day that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift announced that they are engaged. So I'm glad that this will come out later, because if it came out today, nobody would watch because everybody's just talking about that particular story. But as we head towards this NFL football season, what do you do when it comes to handicapping the preseason? Like, do you use it? Is it helpful for you? Or do you just say, look, that was fake football. We're going to play real football starting in a week?
So it's not really helpful or hurtful, but occasionally you'll just see certain things, and there'll be like just a light bulb for you. One of the things that I saw this preseason. Actually, let me take that back. It is helpful.
Okay.
And the reason why I will say that is because first things first, if you look at the last couple of years, starting quarterbacks who don't play in the preseason, they don't tend to do well in the first half. So you look at last year, QBs in the preseason, they went 1-5 against the spread in the first half, and 3-3 against the spread for the full game. Let's go back the year before that. Quarterbacks who didn't play in the preseason, they were 2-7 against the spread in the first half and 6-3 against the spread for the full game. So you're seeing these quarterbacks who didn't play in the preseason, and they come out a little bit rusty, and they tend to go under their player prop. And there's 9 quarterbacks this year who didn't play. Now, unfortunately, this year 6 of them play against each other. So Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, they played Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. Neither one played. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens didn't play. They played Josh Allen. He didn't play. Baker Mayfield, Browns didn't play. Michael Penix didn't play. But there's 3 more. Matthew Stafford, he never plays. Aaron Rodgers, he didn't play. And then Jared Goff. And Jared Goff is the most concerning because he has a new offensive coordinator. And not only does he have a new offensive coordinator, he lost his Hall of Fame center, Frank Ragnow. So that offensive line isn't the same. So I'm really concerned about him. And just to go back to last year, Matthew Stafford didn't play last year. I know he never plays, but the Rams were down 13-7 to the Seahawks and ended up winning that game 30-13. So after halftime, he completely turned it on. But before halftime, he wasn't the same quarterback. So that's one thing I looked at. But also the other thing I will say that I do, like sometimes you'll see a play or two, and it'll be like a light bulb in your head. And a couple of them that I saw were, I watched the Kansas City Chiefs against the Bears. And there's always talk about how Super Bowl losers, they have that hangover. It ain't gonna be no hangover. Because it ain't gonna be no hangover. Because Patrick Mahomes, it looked like me and you were playing defense out there. And I saw that he was firing on all cylinders. Obviously, you got Rashee Rice, who's not suspended right now. You got Hollywood Brown back. I think this Chiefs offense is going to be in midseason form. But on the other side of the coin, I watched that Bengals defense. Oh, my God. That Monday night game against the Commanders, I swear to God, every single play was explosive. So you'll see things like that, and it'll just be a sign of things to come. But then obviously there's other teams who just aren't trying. So you kind of have to just, you pay attention to certain things, but then other things you throw out. But that was the Bengals' first team defense, and they sucked. So I don't see them getting it together.
What do you do? Okay, so like Joe Flacco played a little bit, but Joe Flacco didn't play a lot in the preseason. Does that matter to you if they don't play very much? Because the Bengals are they're trying to start fast. The last 2 seasons under Zach Taylor have been disasters, and it's come back to bite them in December. Last year, obviously, the survivor story we all know, everybody on the Bengals and the Patriots won on the road in week number 1. The Bengals are on the road against the Browns, who will start Joe Flacco, who didn't play very much. Do you think that's a Bengal first half play? Because, well, the offense did see Joe Burrow play a lot in the preseason, and Joe Flacco did not play much for the Browns.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good way to handicap it because I do think, a lot of these quarterbacks, if they're not playing much or they haven't played at all, then they're rusty. And I mean, you got to remember the quarterbacks aren't getting hit. They're not
Right.
getting in the scrimmages and the practices. So it still takes a little bit to get used to. And I think we saw this over the course of the last 3 seasons. I gave you guys the numbers. I mean, I think they're pretty telling. I mean, even though it's a smaller sample size, I think we've seen enough of a sample size to say these quarterbacks aren't playing that well.
I want to take a step back and talk about the industry for a second, Raheem, because you've been doing this for a long time.
Mhm,
What is it like for you when it comes to in the legalized market? And obviously Nevada has been legal for a long time, but I know you used to come into town to do a lot of work and do things and get down
mhm.
on certain games. And then legalization happened. And obviously now you were living in Philly at times and bouncing around in the country to different states, which are now legal. And obviously it's now in 39 states where sports betting is legal. What's it like for you? And how has life changed for you as a gambler in the legalized world?
So it was great initially. Like that first couple of years was amazing. It was all types of free money being thrown around, all types of free bets. And then you quickly realize that none of these books they want winning players. And I think it's worse than it was before. Like it's almost, I mean, I'm fortunate to be able to have a job in sports betting, so I wouldn't have had that without legalization.
Right.
But
All of us. Yes.
yeah, but I mean, in terms of just actually betting, it's horrible now. Like I mean, like nobody will take a bet. I mean, obviously you have Circa. Obviously, I mean, Caesars will take action from some people, but I mean, there's people being cut off at Caesars as well. But there's just a lot of books to where, all right, you're being limited to $10, you're being limited to $1.87, and it's just like y'all are cleaning up with these same game parlays, 25, 30% hold, and you can't even make a $500 bet on an NFL game. It's just frankly absurd.
It's frustrating, I think, for a lot of people who saw it before and now
Mhm,
see it the way it is now and thinking that this was going to be this great opportunity. But come betting in September, when we see the
mhm,
bonuses, when we see these books roll out the welcome mat, essentially, because they know
mhm,
the first 2 weeks of the NFL football season is the most heavily bet time of the entire calendar. Do
mhm.
you have opportunities? Do you shop for books you haven't used before? Do you think there's opportunities in September at the front of the NFL season when the books are more willing to take action?
Honestly, at this point, it doesn't even feel like a lot of like they're not even giving the level of promos that they used to give. I mean,
Right.
that's what I'm
No,
seeing. Like I'm just
agreed.
not seeing like there was a book out there and it was the greatest thing ever. And I kind of, obviously I have the FanDuel connection, so I can't really
Yep.
talk about
That's
books
fine.
too much.
Yep.
But there was a book out there back in like 2020 where, well, this is probably 2019. Literally, they had a promo that if your team was winning an NBA game by the end of the third quarter, they would pay you out.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like it was stuff like that, or it was just all types of free play. Like, I have friends who don't even get free play anymore,
Right.
and they're not even like big winners or anything like that. So it's just it feels like they're just without new states, they're pulling a lot of the promo spin a ton. Now out here in Vegas, obviously,
We
we
never
got
got that.
Cirque. Yeah, we never got that at
We
all.
never got that here. So it's here we never got the
Yeah,
free
and
play
I
stuff.
mean,
So
obviously, I was in Pennsylvania for half the
yeah.
time, so but yeah, out here in Vegas is kind of like you got a couple of books that you can go to. Obviously, you got Circa, you got Caesars, you got MGM, you got Stations. But it's
Westgate,
not. Yeah, you got
Superbook.
Westgate. It's not a lot of it's just not a lot of competition here, which is kind of unfortunate because I remember the days to where I could stay at the Cosmopolitan and they were CG Technology, and then I can run across the street to William Hill, and then I can go across to Caesars, or I can go across to um, what else was there? There were just so many books,
Yeah.
and now it's Caesars and MGM owning the entire strip pretty much.
And I think hopefully there's going to be, I mean, here in town, there's a new book called Boomers, which is starting, and that's going to be a local joint. So hopefully we do see some more
Mhm.
innovation. Missouri coming online in December is going to be an interesting market to look at because of St. Louis and Kansas City on either side of the state. So you got some pretty big population centers that could drive handle in Missouri. So we'll see how that state does. But obviously, we're still waiting on some of the bigger states, population wise, Texas, California, Florida, and whatnot
Mhm.
for that. So in September, the lines can be a little bit soft. The books don't
Yeah.
know a whole lot, right? Everybody's in price discovery mode. Everybody's trying to figure out who is good and who is not. It's why Survivor is such a difficult thing to come through because of how complicated and difficult September is. But how do you look to approach and attack the NFL in September?
So first things first, I do look at the market, and obviously I do have a model. And my model is based off last year's data. But I think when you're looking at these division games, obviously the division games are key because divisional underdogs in week one. I mean, they've historically been a monster. Like that is where you want to look in terms of where I can get a bet down. Like I think divisional home underdogs since 2010. 22 and 7, 75% against the spread in week one since 2010. So that is a place to look. But obviously, you really want to look at some of the additions, some of the takeaways. Who do you think got better? Who got worse? I think one of the things that I like to do is obviously, I think all of us play season win totals.
Yep.
A lot of times, those are the teams that I'm looking to buy on or sell on week one. So if I have, a season win total on a team going under, a lot of times I'm probably playing against them week one if they're playing another team that I think I'm going to buy on. Now, it's not always the case because it is obviously a market and there's a point spread, but I find myself approaching things that way as well.
I think also the way I tend to look at it, and I think historically speaking, there are teams that start fast and there are teams that start slow. I mean, the
Mhm.
Bengals being obviously the most obvious team that has started slowly, and they want to kind of change that narrative as to what they're going to look like. But I think also for teams like let's talk about the Patriots for a second because that's my team. The
Mhm.
Patriots, if you look at ESPN Bet or you look at some other books, I mean, people are betting the over on the win total for the Patriots like it's already happened. And
Mhm.
as a Patriot fan, I'm not in love with that. And they play the Raiders in week one out of the gate with Pete Carroll, a revenge game for him, former Patriot head coach. Obviously, we
Mhm.
know what happened in the Super Bowl with the Seahawks against the Patriots. And we got Ashton Genty, and we have a new running back and a new offense, and Chip Kelly, who's from New Hampshire, coming back. I feel like that could be kind of in your point. You bet the over on the Patriot win total, but in week one, you take the Raiders plus 2.5. Is that a fair assessment?
It is, I mean, it is. But I mean, I think for me, I was looking at it like, let's just say I want to fade. I want to fade the Saints this year. I think the Saints have the worst quarterback room in the league. I'm
Agreed.
really high on the Arizona Cardinals.
Ooh, okay.
I love the Arizona Cardinals. As you see, that line went from 4.5 up to 6 in some places. So I think that is a team that kind of fits the bill of all right. There's a lot of sharps on the Arizona Cardinals to go over their win total, and they're buying on them week one.
I don't hate that. I mean, my only concern with the Cardinals is Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
It's their quarterback. One, his health. Two, his play.
Mhm.
But defensively, people have said they've taken some big steps defensively. They're going to be better than people think defensively. They'll run the ball more effectively, and they may be that team out west that no one's talking about that could jump up and surprise some people. You
Mhm.
mentioned Matthew Stafford not playing in the regular season. What is your outlook for the Rams? Let's stay in that same division because I bet the 49ers already at plus 110. That number has flipped to minus 110 or minus 120 at certain books and then shot up to 150 to plus 150, where I was annoyed because I got it at plus 110. But Rams money came in late as if they know something about Matthew Stafford. What is your outlook on the Rams?
I think the Rams are overrated. Like I really do. I think Matthew Stafford, he's been a great quarterback, but I think the wheels are starting to fall off.
Yeah.
I think you're starting to see he's getting up there in age, and now he's coming into the season with a bad back, and now it's just like at any given time this whole thing can fall apart. So I didn't necessarily play them under, but they are a team that I have my eye on, and I could see them slipping. And I'm higher on the Cardinals than I am on the Rams. And personally, I there's a part of me that wants Houston week one
Woo.
because if Matthew Stafford is coming into the season with a bad back, he got an epidural, and now you probably have to play one of the best defenses in the league, and you didn't play preseason. I think that's a spot where Houston, especially on a teaser, and I'm not a big teaser guy, and that's another thing that goes back to our first conversation about the state of sports betting. You can no longer get minus 110 on teasers. I think there's one book out there that
110, that's
offers,
gone. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
dinosaur. That's a dinosaur. That's
yeah.
gone.
I mean, you could barely get 120 now. I think
Right.
there's one book that gives you 120. I think everybody else is 125,
Or
130,
130.
even 140. But yeah, so I mean that's another thing about the state of legalized sports betting. But I think when it comes to the Houston Texans, I think that's a great teaser leg. Over under 44 and a half. Texans catching 2.5. One of the best defenses in the league. They're playing a quarterback who is coming off an epidural and a bad back. I think they keep this within the teaser number, and they probably even win this game outright.
I think with teasers, that is such an interesting thing from a book perspective is that, and this comes from Dave Sherapan, my co-host on BPB, who used to always say that, look at books who are afraid to take teasers. It doesn't make any sense because yes, the sharps XY, in parentheses, are the ones that would come in and really hammer you. But you want that action because it loses so often. It's more difficult to win. And even though there's like this new theory that's out there that everyone can win betting teasers, that's not actually true. It still is. It's a fun bet to make, I'll give it to you, but it's not like it's an automatic win if you tease a game or tease, two different games together, right?
Yes, it's not at all, especially in the modern NFL where you have more teams going for it on fourth down, more teams going for two. It's actually scary. Like like honestly, I quit teasers a couple years ago. Like I
Right.
literally I'm like I can't play them, and then because I was betting so big, it got to the point where the juice added up. Like if you like,
Ah,
like it's one thing if you have $50 or $100 on the teaser. I mean, your juice is what, $10 or something like that.
right.
I bet a teaser once for $10,000.
Minus 130 is expensive. That's an expensive.
I'm
That's
like,
expensive.
this is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I can't pay all this juice. Like, and I was like, you know what? I quit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
I am a sucker for a same game teaser. Okay. I'm not
Mhm,
going to lie. I absolutely
mhm,
love doing it. I'm not going to tell you that it's the most intelligent way of gambling. It's not the most, so often I'm sitting there at the end of a game sweating out a total, either an
mhm,
over or an under, and I've got the side right, but the total
mhm,
burns me, or vice versa. Like I've teased it up to 9 from a
mhm,
3-point number and gone over 9. So I get out for 3, cross 7.
mhm,
I'm sitting on
mhm.
9 and I'm just sweating and I'm going, oh, like no field goal, no field goal. Like don't put it to 10. And so it's not that easy. Like everybody thinks it's like an automatic
It's
W, and
really
it
not.
really is not. It,
And the
it's
public, and the crazy thing about the public is not just teasing 2 games. They
right.
want to tease 4 and 5 and 6. Like, so it's just like they just need to, I don't know. I just think they should be a little bit more fair to the player.
I would agree with you. And two-leg teasers can be profitable. The Wong teaser method, everybody knows it now, and so do the books. So they play defense now. And don't tell me a 2.5 or a 3.5 point number is not a teaser number, because they do look to do that and keep it below
Yeah.
10 or keep it below 9, trying to keep you, keep their edge when it comes to teasing games. So there's all sorts of ways that the books play defense, and juice is the other one that they make it really expensive for you to go. And even in Vegas, I mean, like I thought forever we'd have, minus 120 teasers, and even the sharp books here in town have gone to 130. It's like, what are we doing on a 2-leg teaser? 130? But that's the price, and that's how they're protecting themselves when it comes to that. So give me a win total that you have bet already that you like, that maybe is not, we haven't talked about it yet. Give me a win total that you like.
Let's go with, I got a list out here. I got a
Oh, all
list.
right.
Um
You like the Cardinals, right? You
I
said
gave you the
that.
Cardinals. You know what? Let's go. This is kind of like an adjusted win total.
Okay.
I don't think I've given this out anywhere else. Let's go Vikings under 9.5 wins.
Oh my, you're not a KOC believer.
So the biggest thing is that they forced 33 takeaways last year, first in the
Okay.
NFL, plus 12 turnover differential. You got a rookie quarterback coming in. That's already going to flip on his head. 9 and 1 score games.
Yes, they were great last year.
You combine all three of those things and a defense that's probably not going to be as good. I think it has a recipe for an under.
Oh, I'm with you. I've talked to enough people that believe that JJ McCarthy could be like not just the comeback player of the year, but like MVP type numbers for JJ
Wow.
McCarthy, which I don't necessarily agree with, but they think that KOC did it last year with a
Hmm.
quarterback not nearly as talented as he's got now. And as long
Hmm.
as JJ stays healthy with the receiving core that he's got and the running game they're going to have, that the Vikings are going to put up big numbers on everybody. I'm not necessarily a believer in that, but the Vikings
Hmm.
defense was good last year. And frankly, the
Hmm.
division, I don't know where the Packers are going to be. I know the Bears have a ton of question marks. And you brought up the Lions. I just watched the final episode of the quarterback last night to kind of refresh where I was. And, that 5 turnover game
Yeah.
against the Commanders was wild to watch because Jared Goff played horrendously. And that was
Yeah.
with Ben Johnson.
I
Now
think I think he was concussed in that game
he got
because he
smacked
remember
on an interception. He did. Yep.
it's so crazy. I like this under too. This was another one I was going to. I like they're right next to each other on my list. I like
Okay.
the Lions under 10.5 wins. Like
I
I
think
love
that's a
it.
good play. I think it's a good bet. I think the Vikings, but if you don't like the Vikings, you don't like the Lions, who wins the division? So is it, are you going Bears and Ben Johnson year one?
It's Bears or Packers. One of those two is winning the division.
Wow. Okay.
I like the Bears over. It's so crazy. I'm playing almost the whole division, but I like the Bears over, and I really like this Lions under 7-2 in one score games. Like everybody talks about how the Lions defense got banged up last year, 24th in adjusted games lost, 6th worst injury luck on defense,
Yeah.
of like the last 25 years. But people don't remember that they had they were like they had the second fewest injuries on offense. So all of their injury luck came on offense, but not on defense. And without Ben Johnson and the fact that Frank Ragnow retired,
Yeah.
guard Kevin Zeitler left, they've gone from a top tier offensive line to maybe middle of the pack, maybe top 10, and then you're 7-2 in one score games, and they won 4 games when trailing or tied within 20 seconds of the game. And this year, they're only going to play 10 indoor games compared to 14 of the last 18. Like, if you look at the Lions schedule,
Yeah.
the Lions, like, honestly, they start the season off against Green Bay, and then they play the Bears, the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals, and the Chiefs. They
Okay.
could almost be out of, like, that could be 3-3. That could be a losing record. Like, they could almost be out of it right there.
Possibly. Yeah. I think it's going to be that division is so interesting to me just because of the topsy turvy nature of the NFL and
Mhm.
how, last year or every year, there are 4 teams that missed the playoffs last year that will be in the playoffs this year. So I'm always on the hunt for finding those 4 teams. Like, what are the 4 teams that were out that will now be in? And it feels like the Bears could be that one of those 4 teams that makes the playoffs if Caleb Williams takes that big jump, if their defense performs, and if Ben Johnson has, that quarterback whisperer mentality or that ability to bring Caleb up to where we thought he could be. Okay, maybe the Bears are going to be the sleeper team in that division to go ahead and win. And if the hand injury, it's not the
Mhm.
throwing hand, but it's still a hand injury for Jordan Love. If that turns out to be a more significant thing, all right, maybe the Packers are going to take a step back and it's the Bears division here, which would be amazing given where they were last year with the number of sacks they had. But they invested in the offensive line. The one thing about the Bears, everyone's
Yep.
forgetting, that's not going to be the same offensive line that Caleb played behind last year. They invested big capital in that line. And I think and Ben Johnson talked about it. He said, look, we're not going to make the mistake that we've made in previous years, other teams. I'm not going to forget about the offensive line. And his center and guard, I mean, that's a hell of an offensive line for the Bears. So I don't hate that at all. All right, let's talk about the team that everyone hates me. Well, I got 2. I got 2
Mhm.
questions. The first is the New York Giants. I am way down on the New York Giants. I have them under 5.5 wins. I do not think they're going to be competitive. I think they're going to be playing Jackson Dart early. And I think this is going to be a developmental year for him. Whether or not that's Brian Dable the next season to develop him or not, that will be a debate. But where are you on the Giants and what is, in my mind, the hardest schedule in the NFL?
This is very difficult for me because I like the roster. I particularly like the pass rush. Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns. You add Abdul Carter to that, and I think that pass rush is going to keep them in some games. I think obviously you add some guys in the secondary, and I think that makes their secondary stronger. I think they can be competitive. The problem is, like you said, they have the worst schedule in the NFL. It just almost feels unfair.
Yeah,
You
right.
got
I agree. Yeah.
you on the road to the Commanders and the Cowboys, then you have the Chiefs and the Chargers. And then, I mean, you're on the road in New Orleans, which is the only game they're favored.
You better win that game.
If you don't win that game, when do you win?
Right. Yep.
But I like them week one.
You like him week one outright or with the points?
Probably both.
Oh, my. Okay.
I mean, like, I'm not necessarily picking them to win week one, but I think they cover that number.
Okay.
This number doesn't make any sense.
Too high?
Look at what if you look at their games last year. So obviously these two teams played last year.
Yeah.
The first game.
It's divisional. I mean, it's 6. It's painted 6 everywhere at the time of us taping here. It's Commanders -6. They're at home. They're on the road. I mean, if the Commanders follow up an NFC Championship game appearance with an opening loss to the Giants, that's not going to sit well in that market. Like, that's a huge stub of the toe for the Commanders. They lose.
Hear me out. Last year they played week 2 on the road. The Commanders were laying 1. Mm-hmm. The Giants should have won that game. They lost 18-21 because their field goal kicker got hurt.
Right.
and they literally couldn't kick extra points, and they couldn't kick a field goal. So they couldn't kick the game-winning field goal. They went for it on 4th and 2, didn't get it. The Commanders come down and kick the game-winning field goal. They play again on November 3rd. They lose by 4. How do you get the 7?
6.
I mean, it was 7.
Yeah.
It was 7. It's 6.5 now. How do you get there other than just perception?
Right. I mean, they have gotten better, obviously. I mean, they've added receivers. They've added some running backs. They're obviously looking to run more with Jaden Daniels. They're looking to be more explosive in the passing game this year, going into year 2 with him to see what he's going to look like and what does he follow up. So I think a lot of people are wondering, is there a regression? Do teams now have film on Jaden Daniels, or is this team going to keep on getting better and better? I think they're going to score on anyone in the NFL. I just don't think they stop anybody. And so the Giants offense, I mean, it's Russell Wilson, it's Malik Neighbors. Let's see what they can do to stop that.
That's gotta be better than Daniel Jones. It's got to be better than Daniel.
You would think. I don't know, though. I'm not positive. You would think, but I'm not positive it's going to be, given the way Russ played in Pittsburgh last year.
And then, I mean, the Commanders, they were 20 of 23 on 4th down. 87%.
Oh, that's amazing.
So if you if you get any regression, and then 6-9 in the postseason, if they get any 4th down regression, like that's a game changer. So it's just like, this line is probably one of the most perplexing lines of week 1.
Yeah, take the dog. If you get back to 7, I think 7's a good number to take or maybe even buy it up if you want. I mean, or tease the Commanders down if you think they're going to win the game. You can pull them down to basically a pick and take the Commanders to win the game. The other team is your team, and everyone is all up in arms with me over this. I've taken the Cowboys to win the East at plus 650. It's been over 20 years since a team in the NFC East has gone back-to-back. It was the Eagles in 03-04. The Eagles won it last year. The Cowboys won it the year before. Everyone thought going into last year it was going to be the Cowboys again, and then they fell on their face. Everyone thinks it's the Eagles again, and I think 650 is really a good value to jump on the Cowboys. I know it's your team, but how are you? How do you feel about Dak and the boys?
So I took them over 7.5 wins. Just because, we talked about this before we went on air. I just think the baseline for Dak Prescott is very, very high. Like, you have a high floor when he's playing. Since he's come into the league, you're talking about a guy who's won 13 games, 9 games, 10 games, 8 games. He got injured and they only won 6. They won 12. They went 12-5 3 years in a row. And then the Cowboys won 7 last year, and he got injured as well. So the thing that we've seen as consistent is that when Dak Prescott is in a Cowboys uniform and he's playing, their baseline is 8-9 wins minimum. So I like them over 7.5 wins.
Mm,
I'm just kind of concerned with the run game, and I'm concerned with the defense. Like I just
sure.
don't. Yeah, I don't know what you get from them
I think
now.
you get an offense that's going to throw the football a ton with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, and I think that they're going to look to pick up. I
Mhm,
think Dak throws for over 4,000 yards with his eyes closed, and I think they're going to look to try to outscore people. And I do think the Micah Parsons deal. I think Micah comes back. I do think they get that deal done before the start of the year, and I do
mhm.
think he's going to have a decent season, if not a great out of the gate first month. I think eventually he'll get into form and help that Cowboys team come. By the time we get to Halloween, I would expect that defense to be better. Then they won't be good, but they'll be
Yeah.
good enough to keep them in games to allow that offense to go and win.
You know what? I think you make a good point though, because they did add Matt Eberflus. He's
Yep.
not a good head coach, but his defense does specialize in turnovers. And you saw the last year. I mean, obviously they regressed heavily in the turnover differential because the year before that they were first in EPA game from turnovers. Last year it was just a total departure from that. So if he can just get this team back towards forcing some turnovers, and Trayvon Diggs could come back
Yeah.
healthy, Micah Parsons could come back healthy, I think their floor is really really high. So, and actually I like the Eagles under. I like the Eagles. Like I know I'm betting against human achievement a lot, but I really like the Eagles under 11 and a half wins. So your bet on the Cowboys definitely makes sense.
If Hurts gets hurt or if Barkley gets hurt and both those guys stayed healthy all year and they play a physical brand of football, they were
Yeah.
fortunate with a lot of luck in the turnover world. Sorry, in the injury world and
Mhm.
turnover for that matter too. But
Mhm.
I don't think the injury luck is going to be there for the Eagles this year. I think they're going to suffer some pretty significant injuries, and it's going to cause them a lot of problems to come in and do that. All right. Before I let you go here, one final topic that I want to address. If somebody's in a contest, whether it be the Circa Million, Circa Survivor, whether it be Westgate, whether it be a different, a local contest that they are in, how do you approach betting in contests versus betting for real when it comes to dollars?
So I think if you're betting for real, at least in the NFL, you kind of want to get out early and often. You just want to get out early. You want to get the best of the number. If you can't get the best of the number early in the week, I think you're probably, you're betting towards game time. Maybe if you're, because the calculus kind of changes because obviously the limits grow
Right.
closer to game time. So you're kind of balancing getting the best of the number early in the week versus at the end of the week, you're also getting injury news and you're trying to maximize your value depending on how much you bet. Like I'm pretty sure Billy Walters, he has his times where he's just betting on Sunday
Right.
because that's when the higher limits is. So you have to balance all of that. In a contest, you also have to be cognizant of who everybody else is betting. And not that you don't have to do that when you're betting for real, but you're actively competing against these people. So there will be a time where a side is going to be public. And I think a good public side is probably the Bengals against the Browns in week 1. Like who wants to bet on on Joe Flacco versus Joe Burrow? So I imagine that's going to be a heavy public side. You kind of want to stay away from that one and kind of
Yeah,
hope it
be
loses.
careful. I mean, what Survivor picks? I mean, are you going? You got to have some serious stones to go back and take the Bengals again. If you're in the Circa Survivor contest and you have $1,000 entry and you're going to go back to the well with the Bengals again in week
Yeah,
1, I don't know if you can do that. I mean
yeah.
that play I
It's
think will be.
crazy.
Yeah,
It's not just for Survivor, it's for Circa Millions too,
yeah.
because if everybody's going to be, well, maybe what's another one that's probably like honestly,
Denver.
Washington might be a Denver
Or
and Washington. Those might be the biggest public sides,
yeah.
and you kind of want to avoid those and hope they lose in Circa Millions and in the Survivor.
Yeah, I can't believe the Denver number already is 8. I mean, we're here. We're taping this on the 26th of August, and the number's already 8. What that tells me that number's going to close at 10, and that's ridiculous in week 1 out of the gate. And I know the Titans aren't going to be good, and I know Cam Ward starting his first year, and I can't stand the Callahans, so I am as out on the Titans as anybody. But whoa, that's a big number in week number
You,
1 for
you know what's
Bo
so
Nix.
crazy?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm that out on the Titans.
Oh, you should be. Oh, you really should be. It's the Callahans. It's Brian Callahan. I can never be in on the I was one of my favorite bets last year was to bet the under on the win total for the Titans. I haven't bet it this year
So
because
you think he's that bad?
I think the Callahans are clueless. I both Brian and Bill. I think and they're both on the coaching staff. Brian's the head coach. Bill's the offensive line coach. I think both of them are completely clueless. But Cam Ward just might be because I think Zach Taylor is clueless, but Joe Burrow makes up for it. Cam Ward could be the similar deal where Cam Ward could make up for the Callahan ineptitude and thus they go over their win total because Cam Ward is that dude. So I don't love Cam Ward, but he does carry himself and he does have some moxie. And if the kid balls out in his rookie year in the NFL, he'll cover up a lot of problems that the Titans have.
So here's my case for the over. They went 2-15 against the spread last year.
Yep.
This is a market. And with this being a market, at some point in time, it naturally, I mean, I think if you were to look, through the last 25 years, a team who's this bad against the spread, they probably do better than that the following year. So I think that's
what I mean. That number is ridiculous. 8 is like already. We open at 7.5. We're already at 8. We're going to go 8.5, 9. Like, when do we get a bet on the dog is going to be the question. When does somebody want to take the Titans? And my guess is probably 10. We probably get to 10, and then the people start betting it back down with the Titans. So I don't hate a play in the Titans in week number 1. That's what I mean. I think everybody's.
But I get the impact. I can understand why people want to play the win total over, just based on
division
regression. Division. Just regression. I mean, you're going to get turnover regression. Like they had 30 turnovers and like 20. They had 21 interceptions. Like. I think
how many picks is Cam Ward going to throw, though? That's the worry, right? You got a rookie starting game 1.
I mean, he's not going to be up 7 and throw the ball completely to the other team when he's that's not going to happen. I hope not.
I don't know. He's a risk taker. I mean, we'll see if it works out for him, but he's going to put the ball in harm's way. We know that from his college days. He's going to put the ball in harm's way. The question will be whether or not he gets to pay the price for it, or does he get lucky breaks and doesn't throw interceptions. That's my worry, is that Cam Ward does throw as many picks as the quarterbacks playing last year did for the Titans, which was a ridiculous amount. So, I don't know. I haven't bet it. I will bet against the Titans this year. I don't know if I'm betting against them in week 1, however, because I like the Denver Broncos. I have the Broncos over on their win total. I'm riding that train over 9.5.
I'm with you.
I'm just not as in love with everybody. I'm just not like this team's going to be 13-4 and they're going to be dethrone the Chiefs and everything else. So, all right, before I let you go.
But before we, I got to say one thing.
Yeah.
I think if you like the Titans under, you play them now.
Oh, okay. Fair.
Because I think if you don't like, if you like the Titans over, and I know a lot of people who like the Titans over.
Okay.
The thing that's keeping me off the over is because I think they're going to lose week 1 and 2.
Okay. And get better number?
That's what I was hoping to do. I was hoping, they lose week 1 and 2, and then I come back week 3, and then I play them over. That's kind of how I was thinking of approaching it.
Not horrible.
If they look competent.
Right. I'm not going to hold you to it because it's obviously just a prediction. But who is in San Francisco / Santa Ana, wherever the hell Levi Stadium is these days? Who wins it all? Who's the champ? I think I know who you're going to say, but who wins it all?
It's honestly, I think the best team in the league is Baltimore.
Woo! Finally, I thought you say Chiefs. I was ready for you to say the Chiefs.
But it's just like it's
Lamar's time. If he's gonna ever do it, it's now.
It's like honestly, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift got married today. So
not married yet, engaged.
They got engaged today, and I feel like they should just get married during halftime.
Oh.
Like
the WWF. The conspiracy theory, right? That she's playing the halftime show.
Wow.
The conspiracy theory is that she's playing the halftime show and she's going to do a residency here at the Sphere in Vegas. And that's where she's going to go. She's going to play the halftime show for the first time. Then she'll play the Sphere right afterwards and start going ahead and do that. The two things she has not done yet that everyone thinks she's going to do: Life of a Showgirl, her new album, Vegas, Showgirl, and then her to go up. The colors of the album is orange and everything else that goes into it, and it's all the 49er baloney that's out there with the Swifties. That's the rumor, that she's going to play the halftime show and then she'll play here in Vegas. So you might be on something there.
You know what? I'll say this. There's 3 teams who can win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
It's the 3 superhuman quarterbacks in the AFC. One of those guys are winning it. I don't know who.
You think Burrow?
No.
Oh.
Not Burrow.
Who's the other
Allen? I don't include him in this. I'm sorry. I like Joe Burrow.
Okay. But he's not superhuman?
There's a clear tier to me.
Okay.
And I think it's
Lamar, Patrick, and Josh.
I think that's the tier.
Wow.
I think it's those 3 just are on a different level. And I think Joe Burrow is right below them.
Okay. I do think there is a surprising lack of attention on the Bills this year, which I'm very surprised at. Normally, people talk a lot about the Bills. People aren't talking about the Bills nearly as much as they used to. They think the window's closed, which might be the perfect thing for an underdog-type city, an underdog-type team to go and shock everybody. And this is the year finally for Josh Allen and the Bills. I'm not subscribing to it, but I am surprised at the lack of attention that Josh Allen has received. He got married in the offseason. His personal life is all settled. It could be.
And the division is weak. Like the division is so weak that it just puts them in a position to where they should be able to. I mean, they're going to win the division, and they're going to have a home playoff game. If they can just continue to beat up on the division, I think they have a real shot. Honestly, I just want Super Bowl futures on all 3 of those teams. I think one of those teams is winning. I don't think the NFC is very good.
I hope it's Lamar. I hope it's the Ravens. I would love to see it. I bet him last year. I'll bet him again. It's just one of those things. I do believe in Lamar Jackson. I believe in the offense. I believe in the running attack. I believe in the defense. I believe that team. Lamar has done incredible things in the NFL, and the last thing he needs is a Lombardi. And if he gets a Lombardi, it changes and cements his legacy and changes the whole conversation around him for the rest of his life. So I hope this is the year for him. I'm not sure, but I hope this. But I'm with you on the NFC. I think that there are some big question marks in the NFC this year, and the AFC has taken a step. I'm out on the Dolphins. I'm out on the Jets. So I'm with you on that. I don't think the Patriots are going to be as good as everyone thinks they're going to be. I don't think they're a 10-win football team. And everyone is, I hate the fact how much it's bet on it. So for the Bills' perspective, they could go 6-0 in the division. And that puts them right smack in the 1 seed conversation and having a home playoff game or home playoffs throughout the entire run. Because the AFC West is going to be a bear for the Chiefs to get there. So
that's going to be brutal.
Very different situations. Raheem, for folks that want to follow you throughout the NFL football season with The Ringer, where can they get your work?
Okay, we just launched the Ringer YouTube page, Ringer Gambling YouTube. So you can go on Ringer Gambling on YouTube. Obviously, you can catch us on Spotify, Ringer Gambling Show. And you can catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am Rostradamus. So check me out. We're also going to be doing a Sunday NFL preview show every Sunday. We did one last year and the year before. This is our 3rd season. So it's just really exciting stuff. So I'm glad to keep it going.
Check out Raheem's stuff for sure. Guys, thank you for watching this. If you have made it this long, do us a favor, hit the like button, hit the thumb, subscribe to the BettingPros YouTube channel. We're trying to get this thing to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year in 2025. So make sure you subscribe, hit the little bell so you're notified every month when the Sharp Report drops. I'm Matt Perrault for Raheem Palmer. We'll talk to you next month for another episode of the Sharp Report.